Hi everyone, my name is Scott Kistler. I'm your teacher for this class and coming to you from my home office. A few things I want to talk to you about for this first assignment, just to give you some introduction to the readings. For this assignment, I want you to look at the documents I've posted below, the Introduction to History 1533, and then Development 1.1, and you can look at Development 1.2 if you wish. It's not required. I'll talk to you a little bit about that development when I get to it towards the end of this video. All right. Well, we're starting the class here. History, of course, is the examination of the past. You can read more about this in the Introduction to History 1533. But history is the examination of the past, and we try to do that in a disciplined way that looks at the historical record that's left, or the primary sources, and then the also works by other historians, secondary sources. And you can read more about that, the patterns that in which historians think in that introduction. Secondly, we're starting in the middle of the story in a way. In 1648, or in your book, we're starting in the 1500s, just to get a sense of what's flowing into 1648. And so what I want to talk to you about real quick is just some of those big picture issues. Now, if we had our normal semester here, you'd read all of chapter 1, but I wanted to focus on a couple of the big concepts there that you can look at it. It's on pages 21 to 27 in your book. And the first concept, or first two concepts that are linked, are those of sovereignty and legitimacy. They're political concepts. Okay, so read about those. But basically, the idea is that any government that wants to be able to use force, okay, needs to be able to justify that, or at least to itself, to the rulers, to the people to some degree. And so legitimacy is the claim to exercise legitimate political power. Sovereignty is the idea that there's a certain political authority that nobody can challenge, right? And so legitimacy claims justify the exercise of sovereignty. Okay? And any political society has a place where ultimately the buck stops and has a reason for that. In the United States, there's the idea of the sovereignty rests in we the people, right? Political sovereignty rests in we the people. You can see that in the Declaration of Independence, and then in the Constitution, which starts out we the people. Okay, in the Declaration of Independence, it's talked about as the consent of the governed. Okay, people setting up their own governments to protect their rights. Okay, and so every political system has this, and we want to try to look for that. Okay, the Chinese Empire in this period has it. The Holy Roman Empire has it. The Kingdom of France, right? The Aztec and Inca empires have these, and if we look for those kind of claims and concepts in a political system, we can find them. Now, those concepts can be used to understand the European governments at this time.